how old was Raul at that point of time?
It was about 18 months.
Still.
Yeah, it was around 18 months. It happened so quickly. Like the regression and the meltdowns, it happened so quickly. And he was tiptoeing. He wasn't giving any eye contact. It was very strange. He did not respond to his name. And I was just hoping, maybe next month he'll respond. Macam bodoh.
Yeah, and some more, it was your first child, right? You wouldn't expect all these things, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember people asking, Raul dah boleh buat apa sekarang? And I would not be able to answer that question. And I was just consoling myself, right? And when my husband said that, I was like on fire. So
Of course.
yeah, I was researching and then I was finding ways. And when I researched, I realized, oh God, I think my husband could be right. He does have autism.
Hey, welcome to Mama's Here. I'm Diana Hashim.
And I'm Sophia Mastan. We're here to share the real unfiltered sides of motherhood.
Think of us as your mom gang on this insane adventure, constantly learning, growing, and most of the time just winging it.
Mama's here because we know you've always been there for others.
Now it's our turn to be there for you.
Hello, your majestic being. That's Diana, but I'm her today. And welcome back to Mama's Here. I'm your host, Sophia Mastan.
I'm actually Diana Hashim, and on our show, we get real about motherhood, the ups, the downs, and all the little moments that make up our day-to-day lives.
In today's chat, we're shining a light on a very special and often challenging part of motherhood, raising children with special needs. It's a topic that many experience but isn't talked about enough.
Yeah, no, we're getting into the heart of what it means to be a mom in these unique circumstances. We're here to unpack the real stories, the everyday challenges, and those small yet significant wins.
And who better to talk about this with us than Junita Rashid? She's the founder of Boss Mama. I love their bras. A mom to two incredible boys and a voice for parents navigating special needs, particularly because of her own experience with her son's autism.
Now, today what we're going to experience is Junita is going to take us through her personal story, the rough patches, the high points of raising a child with autism, and how she juggles this with her personal and work life.
We can't wait to dive into this conversation. Remember, you're not alone in your journey because Mama's Here is to support, share, and uplift you. But before we get started, let's hear from our sponsors.
We at Grow and Glow Mama are a sanctuary where motherhood meets empowerment. Together, we embrace strengths, lean on each other, and illuminate the path for all mamas. Join our vibrant community on Instagram and hotline group. Let's grow and glow together every step of the way.
So today's episode is a deep dive into a part of motherhood that's both incredibly challenging and profoundly rewarding.
Now, motherhood brings all sorts of surprises, some more challenging than others. And for some, this includes navigating the world of special needs parenting. It's a journey that's not talked about enough, but it is so important.
Definitely. And just to remind our listeners, while we're here to share and support, we're not experts, and we fully encourage you to get support you need, whether from your doctors or your community.
And today we're focusing on the experiences of moms who face unique challenges in their parenting journey. So we're super excited. We have Junita with us today.
How are you, gorgeous? How are you, girls?
Oh my gosh, this is like a bunch of girls, just us hanging out. We're just missing a few more people and coffee and makan.
That's right.
I know if we had the rest, I don't think this
I think we'll divert into something else.
In so many ways at one. But babe, this journey that you are experiencing right now, especially with your sons being on the autism spectrum, is something we're definitely really eager to learn about.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's such a heavy topic.
Yeah.
I think coming here, so I had.
I like that.
Yeah, I was so nervous. I'm sweating. My fingers all.
Okay.
Don't worry, we got tissue.
Yes. We have water, we have everything. But can you start us off by sharing what it was like when you first noticed your son's unique needs? How did you begin navigating this new path in motherhood?
Okay, so I'm gonna make this very storytelling-ish.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Go for it.
So when Raul was about 18 months, I noticed he started to regress. So from saying a few words, he stopped. From becoming, certain milestones were met, and then suddenly it was forgotten. And I did not realize at that time. But the meltdowns got so bad. It was not tantrums, it was meltdowns. And it was insane to the point that I thought, oh my God, my son is possessed. It's true, my son could be possessed. Because he would bend his body backwards as if he was going to snap. And every day from 2 to 4 a.m., he would wake up screaming. It was so, I was so scared to sleep because I know around 2 he'll wake up and he would scream and run into walls, and he would just basically try to hurt himself for that 2 hours, and then he got too tired. He fell back asleep. So that was the routine for a good, I don't know, 6 months with my husband. And it was us taking turns to calm him down and also manage our patients. And one day when we were driving back to Johor, so at that time I was working with Johor, my husband was working in Johor, so we were like Patah Balik every other week we were in KL, Johor. So we were driving back, and then suddenly my husband says, I think Raul has autism. And I was like, what is autism? I had no idea. So I've been doing research, and I think Raul has autism.
What year was this?
And I think it should be 2018.
Okay. And was it how old was Raul at that point of time?
It was about 18 months.
Still.
Yeah, it was around 18 months. It happened so quickly. Like the regression and the meltdowns, it happened so quickly. And he was tiptoeing. He wasn't giving any eye contact. It was very strange. He did not respond to his name. And I was just hoping, maybe next month he'll respond. Macam bodoh.
Yeah, and some more, it was your first child, right? You wouldn't expect all these things, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember people asking, Raul dah boleh buat apa sekarang? And I would not be able to answer that question. And I was just consoling myself, right? And when my husband said that, I was like on fire. So
Of course.
yeah, I was researching, and then I was finding ways. And when I researched, I realized, oh God, I think my husband could be right. He does have autism. And that's when the journey started with all those symptoms. And and since then I've been on fire trying to make sure that I give him the best life possible to make him independent.
Was it like after you guys had more or less like sort of self-diagnosed the situation, did you actually take him for psychiatric evaluation, assessment?
Okay, so that's the next part, to understand the diagnosis, right? In Malaysia at that time, I felt that it was so inadequate. Yeah, I wanted to see a couple of very experienced profound doctors, and they were just not available. Like the waiting list was 3 years and stuff like that. It was just like, I don't have time. I really don't have time for this. And I kept buying books to understand better. And so we went to Melbourne to get a diagnosis.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we acted really quickly. But the first doctor we met was actually a family friend. And she was the reason why I became super determined to make sure Raul was not going to end up like how she described he would be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
So
Sorry. She. And how was that? Did she describe him to be?
so she said Raul is severely autistic. He would not be able to take instructions. He won't even be able to bake a cake.
A doctor
But-
said that.
Yes, she was a neurologist.
Okay.
No, I can't remember exactly what she was, but she was a family friend that I seeked,
Right.
comfort in it
Of course.
to further understand lah. And she was so demotivating. It was crazy. I remember crying as I left the room. And she basically said Raul won't be able to do anything, and he'll be very easy to take care of because he'll be in his own world. You don't have to look after him much pun.
But Raul now, he's amazing. He listens to instruction. He plays. Well, he wants to, of course.
Yeah.
And he eats like a meal. Like, I remember because I...
Loves to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was describing how Raul's going to be a picky eater and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and he won't be able to bake a cake. I remember that so clearly because she said she had a patient that was 17 years old and only then he could bake a cake. So I was like, my son is not going to be 17, only then he can bake a cake. No, he's going to be much younger than that. He's going to be able to do so many things. I'm not going to let autism be the hindrance in life, it makes him different, but it's not going to be a blocker. I didn't want it to be a blocker.
Yeah.
And I was finding ways to make sure he'll be able to overcome his symptoms as much as possible.
Well, that in itself must have been a really traumatic journey, but also the right kick in the right direction to how you want to get things sorted out. I mean, especially Raul being your firstborn, and I guess like, what did you do? What happened as soon as you met that doctor? Because bearing in mind, I'm just gonna say this as a disclaimer. quite a number of people are afraid of going to the doctors
Yes.
due to these factors as well, to be spoken to in such a way that there is no hope. And you have to accept that there is no hope.
Exactly.
But in the reality of it,
There is hope.
you could work things out very differently depending on your circumstances. Can you tell us what happened after?
So right after that, I started looking for developmental pediatricians. Okay, so good ones are like Raja Juanita, for example. So the waiting list was so long, 3 years and all that. And my dad and my parents, they were so supportive. They were like trying so many ways to get in line. Then I said to my dad, you know what? Let's do it this way. Let's go to a different country, Singapore, Melbourne, wherever they have space. Maybe it'll be a good time for me to take a break as well, learn more from other countries. So Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne was very well known to handle autism. So we booked a flight, booked time to go to Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, and it was great. I learned so much from them, and I was like, in a day or two, I didn't have that fear that I had when I had met the previous doctor. The fear had just gone away, and there was so much of information, so much of positivity, and I loved the whole environment there. They taught me so much about Raul without knowing. I didn't know him well enough, but they knew him, and I was learning about him through them.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah. So they told me about what does it mean for him to communicate? What is communication? It's not about him talking, saying words. Communication is about a two-way communication. For example, that is one of the things I've learned. What speech therapy means, what occupational therapy means, what hippotherapy means, all that they taught me. And in the 2 weeks that I was there, I got a really good diagnosis of what he was. And that's when I learned, don't label your child. Don't say that he is, what do they call it here? Mild autism or severe autism, because the doctor over there said he could be severe one day and the next day he will be mildly autistic, and you'll be surprised with the progress. I mean, it all depends on the parents, right?
Yeah. It's also like kind of like a general mood shift day. It could depend on the day and the circumstances, what may or may not happen. And I love that you mentioned it, because so I've spoken to a couple of other moms as well who have children on the autistic spectrum, and they were basically, again, not labeling them, but essentially giving the assessment of what their doctors told them.
Exactly.
And it kind of adds a lot of pressure to the moms, because how do you place your child where after this? What do I need to do from that point? So after you found out, did you stay on in Melbourne for a bit, or did you guys come back, or what happened?
Actually, we were really considering moving there.
No, because you love it so much.
I loved it so much. The inclusive schools, the everything. There's a section in the grocery store for kids on the spectrum, with like Down syndrome. Like, I was like, what? They have like non-dairy milk, non-dairy bread. They had because dairy and things like that are not exactly good, like gluten. You try to go on a better diet for kids on the spectrum, and they had all that prepared in the grocery stores. I was like, oh my God, that's life. That's what I need. And at that time, I was pregnant with Ryan.
Wait, what's the age gap at that point of time? Wait, their age gap is...
Their age gaps. But when Raul was diagnosed with autism, when I went to Melbourne too, just about a week before, I found out I was pregnant.
Yo, bro.
And so I was flying 6 weeks pregnant. I was like, my God, am I going to lose this baby,
Come on.
But yeah, everything turned out fine. Look at Ryan one.
Oh my goodness.
BFF.
It's so incredible that you're sharing this journey, but like, oh my God, I don't even know what to say to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have like some challenging part, and also obviously the joyful part of this experience. Can you like share with us the challenging and the joyful part of this experience?
Oh, challenging is actually other parents, to get them to understand, to get them to be compassionate, to be understanding, to be all kinds of good things. That kindness, oh my God, it's lacking in our community.
Oh, yes.
It was so bad. Like, I remember, I think Raul was maybe 3, and Raul accidentally stepped on one of the kids' shoes or kaki or something like that. And he just walks away, you see, because he doesn't know that he's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And the parent was like, I'm going to report on your child. I was like, I'm a 3-year-old. I mean, he's autistic. You lah tak pandai jaga anak.
Oh my God. She will say there when she doesn't like something. B-A-B-I.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like,
Yes.
Really? How did you respond to that?
I don't know how to respond. I felt bad. I don't know.
You felt bad?
I felt bad because
You're so nice. If it was me, see, you've gone through, I would say, something very challenging in your life.
yeah.
And then somebody said that. I think it will crushed me at that point, you know?
did and because of that I was in shock. And I didn't know how to respond. I just said,
This is an adult talking, you know?
yeah.
To you.
Oh my god.
Shock. I was like, you're going to report on my 3-year-old?
Oh man.
Yeah, how? And she was like, no, tak pandai jaga anak. And then she walks away.
And it comes from a mom. You see what I say? You see, this is why we do mamas here, you know? Please don't judge other moms.
Yeah.
She had no idea, you know. And at that time, I was like, oh, should I say that my son is autistic or not? At that time, baru tau, and I don't know the environment in Malaysia. I just come back from Melbourne, and everything was so beautiful there. And then suddenly,
Oh, bam. To this.
But you know, I have to highlight this though. Why the hell do you have to highlight the fact that you are sorry my child is autistic?
yes, that's the problem.
Exactly.
When we hear it's like that.
Not fair.
But we shouldn't say sorry, right? For like,
I apologize that this has happened.
Yeah.
Yes, my son is autistic, and that is that. You know, he's unaware. So what now? You know, like, what are you gonna say about it now? We should, unlike, no mother should ever have to apologize and say, I'm sorry, my son is autistic.
yeah.
I want us to change that right here, right now, because you should never be sorry.
Yeah, June also has a community. It's called Rara Brothers, right? And it is because because Raul is autistic, and you started that because you want to empower more moms. And there is a few moms, because I have a community of my own, but I focus on mental health for moms.
Yeah.
But there's moms who say like, oh, my children's autistic. I don't know what to do. And some of them are entrepreneurs, and they're just they're not confident when it comes to this. And I like that you have this community for moms, because it feels so lonely, and having a community teaches more people, especially in Malaysia. I think we're very not in the
Community
Melbourne
level.
Yeah.
Was it hard to find a group of friends who like a support system here though?
To be honest, yes, because I notice a lot of mothers over here are very protective about
Their kids,
exposing
their-
that their
oh.
kids have autism. A lot of people were very surprised. Oh, how do you find the courage to talk about it? I'm like, why do I need to have so much courage to talk about what is the truth?
Yeah.
Well, my son is autistic. He's not on the spectrum.
Yeah.
He's not a disease.
Yeah.
You know, but they make it sound like, oh, I tak boleh cakap. I cannot. Oh, my parents will feel this way. I'm macam, look, I don't want you labeling your child. You're so comfortable labeling your child, but you're not comfortable about seeking support from your support system. But I don't know what their circumstances are.
Sure.
So I don't judge, of course.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, let's not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, your child needs extra help.
Yep.
Your child is different.
Yep.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah.
Let's be friends, you know. But over there, macam, they're very over here it's very tense. I can sense the tenseness about making friends, about having a play date. Very tense.
I would like to add, because my daughter's 5-year-old, and this one time Mariam met Raul, and I didn't know what to say. And then June said, it's okay. Just tell Mariam what's, why Raul is such and such. And then it's people, because I thought it's a very sensitive subject. And I think it's because I also have a family member whose son is autistic. And when I was growing up, I also think he was different, I would say. But then whenever I ask, oh, he's just, they just tell me that he's different, but never explain why.
Yeah.
But it's very refreshing that June actually told me to say that to Mariam, because then she can learn, and we can normalize that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So I was like, I want to share this like normalizing thing. Like, there's this one school that I used to teach in, because I used to teach.
Oh my
public
God, what
speaking and
what
speech and
don't
drama.
you do?
Yeah. So basically, like, there was this one school where I was teaching in, and they had it was an international school. Bearing in mind, it's a new international school at the time, and there were a lot of students in my class, about 25 of them, and obviously, in a classroom full of people, you start to think like, okay, how do you standardize your teaching to all the kids, which in a general basis is hard. But then there was this one particular kid in the class where I started to notice like, like there's something very special about this kid. But I have not been, there were no reports of, or like, I was not told of anything to look out for, so to speak, until this one fine day. There was something that really was like, okay, I now have to ask a question to the class teacher. Then I asked, and then, is this child, I was wondering, is there anything I need to know about this kid? Because, something happened in a classroom, and we tried to calm the situation. Bearing in mind, all the classmates were really helpful, by the way, in calming the friend down. And the teacher said, no, there's nothing that we know of from the parents' side. And then I said, well, part of the reason why I want to ask is because as a teacher, I'd like to be able to find a way to have a more effective teaching space for this kid also lah, because takkan lah I want to just do it for the sake of teach the same thing, because they might need different ways of teaching, right? But then after that, over time, the class teacher came back to me finally, where they finally got around to speaking to the parents, and the parents had actually said, we kind of knew that there was something, but we never got diagnosed because we were afraid that schools will not accept him.
Yep.
And I take it
reasonable fear.
Is it
really
a struggle for you?
Yes. So when I was going through, Raul has finished his EIP program, which is really important, and now he's 7, so he had to go to school, right? What do I do? It was I was going crazy to find out how do I put him in school. I can't be homeschooling him. I mean, memang it's not a good expectation on myself, I know. So I started looking for schools, and then when I applied, I see that some of them accept special needs now. So then I basically carry out the conversation without saying that Raul is autistic, and they are so excited now. They start giving all the documents, payment, the terms, and the price, the fees, whatever lah. The moment I say Raul has a diagnosis, he's autistic, they ghost me.
Oh,
they ghost me, and they say, I can put you wait list. Tiba-tiba.
Let's say this is big school, big mean the school that is known to.
Yeah, yes, they're known, and some of them are small private schools that I thought
would accept.
Yeah, that I thought would accept, and also had really good curriculums and syllabus.
And I was like, I'm gonna ask you later when we're not recording.
I was so disappointed because it looked so good on the internet or on the website. Which wow, they embrace this, they embrace that. Wow, cerita dia bagus lah. So then I sent it to my husband. It's like, okay, I found the school, and then they ghost me, and I'm like, and I was so disappointed. I was like, and one of the school was very happy to accept Raul, which is the school now he's going to lah. And it's because the headmistress for the special needs department within the school, she has a special needs child herself. So she runs this part herself.
Right.
And an amazing experience I had with this school was that when I walked into the school, I was lost. And this elderly man came up to me and said, do you need help? I said, I'm looking for this particular unit in the school. I don't know how to get there. And he was so kind. He brought me to the class and said, this is the teacher you need to meet. And then after that, the teacher that I met said, oh, do you know that that's the principal? I was like, she's so kind, because I said my son was on the spectrum and he was interacting with Raul, and I was like, the principal is so kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they didn't need a shadow. Another thing about a lot of schools, they need a shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow is mahal gila.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to expect that. So a lot of moms or a lot of parents cannot send their kids to school.
What is a shadow?
It's like a assisted teacher, like that.
So a teacher that follows the child around.
But then they don't have a normal school experience then, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So this school finally they accepted Raul with open arms, and so far he's okay. I mean, no school is perfect. We always have to work on it.
Yeah.
But I that's the challenge lah with schools. A lot of them, they just pretend to say they're inclusive, but the moment you say it, you're on wait list.
If when it comes to schools, do you feel that's the case for outside resources, macam extracurricular activities as well, or even other support groups? So I have a friend who has a son who is also on an autistic spectrum, and he is she sends him for therapy, as in a very relaxed Zen therapy.
Yeah.
They play with certain senses, simulations and stuff like that. Was it difficult for you to find those kind of resources here?
Oh, actually now banyak.
Mm,
But a lot of them, you have to be careful because they are very money orientated.
right.
They just want to do and that's it lah. I don't
Okay.
care about your child's progress. I'm just going to keep repeating doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
I'm not going to report to you today. My daughter, your son, your daughter has achieved this milestone. There's no real reports, so a lot of that is going around, and they're really squeezing through the fees. It's insane. I remember the first school that I sent Raul to, which was like a 6-hour a day kind. I paid 10,000 ringgit a month.
Oh my god, you wanted to see a day. I wanted to like,
No, 10,000 ringgit a month, and
it's a lot
he was
still.
there for almost a year. So we had completely finished our savings. We had to sell the car. We had to move in with my mom. It was we did absolutely everything for Raul to make sure that he'll be independent because it's an investment
Of course.
for his future and for our sanity.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do early intervention, the results, I mean, you're gonna grow old it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What types of support have you really made a difference for you and your family?
What kind of support?
Yeah.
Actually, the therapists.
For you?
For me, yes. The kind of support I have is my therapist, my mother, my parents, my husband, of course. Everyone around me, even the helpers, they show so much of support. I'm so blessed that way. And I have you guys who accept Raul so well.
Oh, Raul is such a sweet boy. Like, honestly, he's so sweet.
Yeah, he came over to your house and he was so comfortable. Now he keeps asking.
And he doesn't want to go home. And he has to fast. He has to like, come, let's go home. 5 minutes. Don't want.
Yeah. He keeps negotiating 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
10 more minutes.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, he's such a sweet. He is such a calm, nice, like he's in his own world, but he can still play and with Mariam a little bit, that kind of things. It's he tries. Yes, so nice.
It's really amazing how I was going to say another disclaimer over here because very different circumstances happen to each person, each mother.
That's right.
The resources and whatnot. Like in terms of, set aside family because you're actually, very lucky that you have that support as well. Well, let's talk about how you're saying in terms of therapy, there might not be the best resources, but in terms of friendship wise, like the people who might be there to listen to you and whenever you need them, they are there for you. Like, how did you manage to find those people? Like, how did you get to that point? Because I can only imagine, like what you said earlier on, how do you start off with saying that my child is autistic and I need a group of friends whom will be able to understand this
and accept without judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I've been so blessed in that way. I never needed to try. My friends were so supportive. My family was so supportive. My sister-in-laws, my brother-in-laws. I tell you, they are amazing people. And my family has been nothing but supportive throughout the whole process. I have been super blessed that way. And I think my husband is an amazing father to Raul. He's so hands-on. And although, of course, he had his weaknesses, raising Raul, where we lost our patience and we lost it basically with him.
Yeah. I think it's not just you, June, with the special need kids. We all has lost our patience with. Yeah.
I mean, like, I had a terrible experience in front of my in-laws before. And, they could easily judge me and hate me for it, but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Instead, they knew, okay.
They know because you're a mom and it's not easy.
Yeah.
And that we have to highlight over here, please and thank you, okay? Now, moms, we are a non-judgmental space.
Exactly.
And I'm going to call myself out or anyone out that at any point, if you ever for a moment see a mom in distress and thought that she is a bad mother, I'm going to say, stop yourself right there and think about the potential circumstances that a mom might experience.
Yeah.
Did you ever in terms of that, like, I can only imagine that the support you have, do they help out at home, like taking care of Raul as well?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, so my mom is very hands-on. Husband's very hands-on. The helpers are also very good. Helpers know how to manage him. There's this one particular helper that my mom's helper, she's really good with Raul. They're like besties. She's quite young, you see. So I don't know why, but he always listens to her. Makan time is structured, mandi time. She's so funny with him. And I think they've bonded really well. So I do trust her with Raul. Of course, there's no 100% trust with helpers, but at least I know, okay lah, she can handle him. Another one that's very important for me is his therapist. So there was a therapist during COVID. There was no schools open, right?
Yeah.
And that was a crucial period for Raul to learn how to be independent, like toilet training and all that. So these two therapists, Mark and Fiona, they were the pillar during COVID time because they took the risk of coming to the house every day to teach him for a good 1 year until lockdown was over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about handling, right? You have 2 kids, Raul and Ryan.
Yeah.
How do you balance the needs of both your kids?
Oh, yeah. It hurt.
Must be tough because Raul will need a special attention.
Yeah.
And then there's Ryan, who is very playful. I would say he's exactly like my daughter Mariam. How do you handle it?
Okay, so I've been very blessed with my mother because when I just gave birth to Ryan, I was overly exhausted handling Raul and handling Ryan. So one day I was holding Ryan and I accidentally fell asleep, and my mom caught Ryan in time as I was basically fading off, sleeping, and then I would have dropped Ryan, but my mom caught him in time. And since then, my mom said, you know what, at night, let Ryan sleep with me. Why don't you look after Raul? Because every night I have to be awake for Raul's meltdowns. And then I said, I felt so bad. And my mom's like, oh, well, who better to leave Ryan with but me? I'm your mother. And I said, okay. So since that day, I think Ryan was about 2-3 months, she took care of Ryan. So that Ryan sleeps with her all the way. And I got time and resources to manage Raul. And I was able to focus on Raul while my mom was looking after Ryan. And she's an amazing grandmother to Ryan. And I was raised by my grandmother, so I'm comfortable with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the certain things that we sort of have to, I don't want to say take it or leave it. It's more of we have to let go of certain expectations that you have within yourself as a mom, because
We're not robots.
Yeah, we're not robots. It's completely natural to also want to do it all as much as possible because you want to be there for both your kids, because obviously the mom guilt thing, I don't want to only focus on one kid and whatever. But it's also very important to learn to allow yourself to delegate. But we're going to take a really, really short break. And we've got our Sassy Sally coming up. So you're going to find out the questions that she'll be tackling. And when we come back, we'll also be talking about finding out about Junita's right kind of support. So don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back to our Sassy Sally, your digital bestie. And today we have another confession, so let's get into it. I have a 5-year-old daughter who just got diagnosed as autistic. It took us a long time to actually diagnose her because we were scared to confirm it. She had been showing signs, and sometimes she's not able to really play with other kids properly, that I find it hard to take her out to play dates or find her schools, because some people will complain or make me feel like I'm a bad mom. And not controlling my daughter properly, I don't know if this is a question or confession, but I feel very alone in this. And yes, my husband is supportive. Some of my family don't really understand what autistic is. I'm not sure what to do next now that I know my daughter's condition. First of all, I have so much love for you guys. Okay. And I know this is a very tough topic also because I actually went through a period of time when I learned about autism, and I was worried if my daughter might have it because it's a very common diagnosis. I was looking out for signs, and thankfully my daughter is actually doing really well. And would I consider getting her test in the future? I would, but I totally understand why it's so scary to go and get it diagnosed, especially if your children are showing signs, because people make this a stigma, like autism is such a bad thing, or it's a really scary diagnosis that it's gonna completely turn your life upside down in such a horrible way. But based on my personal experience with my friends who have autistic children, and honestly, they're really amazing moms. And these children are so amazing. They're so beautiful. They're smart. They're gentle and loving. I love them to bits.
And also, people would think, especially as moms, we will constantly think that, oh, we're worried that people are going to judge that we're a bad mom because we don't do this, we don't do that. But what you did was an amazing thing. You got your daughter diagnosed and you got through that fear. And the best thing is now she's already diagnosed. And the best thing you can do now is get her the help she needs, the support she needs, the guidance. It will improve her way of life, how she gets through life. And it just supports her in so much more better because she has help, to manage this diagnosis. But it's not a bad thing. And if you're worried about having other moms judge you for play dates because you can't control your daughter, my daughter's 2 years old and I don't think I can control her. And she's a perfectly healthy child, by the way, okay? It is normal if your child gets out of control. It happens, okay? But with the right group of moms, the right group of friends, you won't feel judged. So if you need a friend, I am here. I'm open to play dates. If you need a mom support group, there's a Grow and Glow Mama, there's Super Mummies, there is Boss Mama. This group they're all filled with so many wonderful moms that could be lifelong friends. They have children that could play with your child with no judgment at all. Because the last thing we need as moms is to have more negativity. We don't need that. So get yourself a good support system. And if you ever need help, if you do need advice, I do have friends who have autistic children and they're doing really good. And I think I can introduce them to you to help you through your struggles. But let me tell you, anyone who ever calls you a bad mom, you come through to my DM because I will have a very polite, non-harmful way of dealing with them. So never worry, you're not alone. You're doing great. Your daughter's doing amazing. You're not a bad mom. Okay, you're strong. Your daughter will grow up to be strong because she has a mother who loves her, who will help her get through life just fine. So I'll see you guys again. And like I always say, I'll catch you on the flip side and you'll know what it is.
Welcome back, and we just heard from Sassy Sally answering a question from one of the moms from Mama's Here community.
Okay, so based on that response, and even the person who reached out to Sally in regards to what she had experienced, like, do you think you can relate to that? I mean, the part where the feeling like a bad mom, being told like you're a bad mom, earlier on it was already that experience, but how do you feel about that question?
I think it's very relatable. It's so relatable that it brings back so many memories, like so many of that traumatic memories.
Actually, there's one a few, what is that called again?
Like what?
Situation. So more than one situation throughout,
Oh yeah, it's a constant thing that, you're not a good enough mother because you cannot control your child. You are all kinds lah. You are everything that's not good because your child will not listen to you. It is this perspective that your child must listen to you in order for you to
be a good mom.
You don't realize that, you need to discover your child's character. Yeah. And a very simple example is that right now, Raul is having really bad tantrums every time we tegur him. We are trying to find out now that, okay, might be a new character that's building in him. So let's find out what's his triggers, or, just be a very involved parent in understanding your child.
Yeah.
And it's never you're a bad mother just because of this, just because of that. No, you will be surprised how much you are doing for your child.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself credit for that. And I definitely relate to this question. A lot of parents think it's all about them, that the problem is them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of a sad reality for even a lot of parents, whether they have children that are on the spectrum or not. Everything that happens to their child, the way the child acts or reacts, is that they feel like it's a reflection on them, and that automatically adds a feeling of guilt, a feeling of pressure, and definitely a feeling of isolation, because a lot of the time that we don't want to admit that fact that, hey, we had a day where we yelled at our kid or we said no to our kid and our kid just sort of reacted to it. Like, did you ever feel like you were isolated in a lot of ways as a mom?
Yes, definitely. Because Raul can't play with typical kids, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the moms would be very watchful over Raul, especially when he was younger and he was not able to regulate his feelings. He was not able to understand. It was very challenging. I didn't want to bring Raul out, and I thought that was for the best. And honestly, at that time, it might have been for the best because other parents won't understand. Other parents might feel overwhelmed, and I didn't want to put that burden on them. So I worked with Raul in all these kind of settings and situations, especially with his therapist. And when he was ready, that's when I bring him out. And, it's more manageable that way because other kids may not understand. And then it becomes more complicated for the parents to explain. Yeah. Because in our environment, people are not exposed to autism or special needs as much as, let's say, in Australia. Yeah. So I thought it was for the best to prepare Raul for such a setting first before taking him out.
I don't think that was a bad idea at all. I think it's like, because there will be moments there, from my knowledge anyway, of like, meeting very beautiful children on the autistic spectrum, they have this amazing ability to really take in emotions and their environment in such a manner that a lot of us might not understand, like, who don't experience the same feeling as they do. And in that sense, to prepare a child to say, like, things like this may happen, and these are some of the things, the tools that you can use to make yourself, to survive and to live in this world without feeling like you are ostracized. I'm going to get a little bit emotional here because I'm recalling a conversation with another mom friend who has a son who's also on the autistic spectrum. And she was mentioning that one of the things that she would pray for is that she would pray that she will die after her son, because she knows for a fact that no one is going to be there to protect him. But to give Raul this feeling of you're going to be okay is an amazing, beautiful thing. So kudos on you, babe. Like,
I don't know, it's not easy either. You were sharing it to me how difficult it was. And you don't start crying. We're all slowly tearing up over here.
I've made my mind do not.
We're gonna burn you. Because you actually shared it to me, I think a few weeks ago, saying that it was not easy to train him, but that is the sacrifice that you as a mom has to take for Raul's future.
Yeah. It was not easy. There was so many sacrifices I had to make. And it was very expensive to get the therapist to keep because we were always, every single thing that he did was an analysis, to be honest, to understand him better. Because the moment we understood him better, the moment we understood his strengths and his weaknesses, that's when Raul improved.
Wow.
It's about understanding your child.
Getting to know him.
Getting to know him, not trying to make him a certain person. Yeah.
Change
So a
him
lot
to
of
be
people, a lot of people think, oh, I want my daughter, I want my
I think
son
that's
to be
the
like this.
mindset, right? To get to know your child.
And I think that could be the stem of the fear as to why people don't get their kids diagnosed or, assessed, because the automatic labeling of their child to be a specific anything would imply that they have to be treated that particular way, when in the reality of it, we have to sort of change that mindset altogether. Could you share with us like a situation where you found the right kind of support that helped you through a difficult time? Like, so you had mentioned earlier on, and I'm going to say, like, everyone's circumstances are different, and we are certainly very privileged to be here to share this story. But at the same time, let's talk about the people who might not have the access to certain things. Like, you're into the community at the moment. Like, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of like people or organizations that can be very helpful for anyone who definitely needs it. So what do you think? Like, where would they go? Where should they go?
I think the first step is to get a psychologist. Get that diagnosis for you to understand what's going on with your child. Because it's not only autism. You have to see, maybe it's autism with ADHD. Is it autism only? So I would suggest find a center that you're comfortable with. Get that support from therapists, because they're the ones that are going to understand you the best, because they're the most knowledgeable. So what I did was I went to WQ Park as well. So WQ Park is a rehabilitation center that also focuses on autism, right? So they have this EIP program, and that's where I put Raul for a while.
What's EIP stand for?
Early intervention early intervention program.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where they have this whole syllabus. So they get the kids to be it's called school readiness basically. Yeah, so they prepare them for school later. But some kids thrive and some kids they don't, and some kids need more help with speech therapy, with occupational, with whatever therapy required. And WQ Park was the Kelana Jaya outlet gave what Raul needed. The support from therapists is actually quite important. You think you can do it all alone, but you need that little education, educate.
Everything goes a long way with education as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's to understand what diagnosis your child is having to move forward. What's the next thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's like, because I think if we just left it to chance and Dr. Google, for example, not that it's
Google is good in certain things, but not in this sort of things, because at the end of the day, they are our future generation.
yeah.
Yes.
If they're special, if they're, normal, whatever, they all need something. They need guidance. We need to educate ourselves too, because there's so much to learn. There's always something new. Even I think in the autists, if your child has autism, there's always something new, right? Like development, like to teach them something like that. So what was the place called again, June?
WQ Park.
WQ Park. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to go, maybe go there first, and then they'll guide you through.
Yeah. I get a lot of DMs, and I always say, go and get your diagnosis first. Understand your child a little bit more. Get a psychologist to analyze your child in a certain setting. So they'll put you in different settings to understand. So go and get that diagnosis, understand better. Then you know what kind of therapy you need. Because if you go straight for therapy, you might be missing out on some important parts.
The intro.
Yes. Yeah. So you go all out with speech therapy, but you don't do EIP.
Yeah.
So your child will grow up not understanding.
Yeah.
They need to understand first in order to speak, communicate, two-way communication.
It's basically like us, like to understand us better before we even understand our partner, for example.
Yeah, very true. But like you were saying, like a lot of people DM you, like this is from your community that you have grown.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna highlight the fact that it's fantastic that you have this community.
Very
as
much.
well.
Thank you.
But
Very small.
but still,
Small can go a long way.
yeah, and it is very, very incredible to be able to be that support system for someone, especially after having gone through the same experience yourself or something relatively similar, that you be able to shine a light to say, like, this is the direction that you can go to start off. But there will be a community of moms. And speaking of community of moms, you have Boss Mama, you have this community line, all that. How do you manage to balance all of that? Because also, I mean, again, it goes back to the support system and all of this, but
How do you juggle it?
yeah.
How do I juggle it? Okay, to start off, I have this characteristics where I'm always on anxiety. I need to complete tasks. Yeah, I need to complete tasks very efficiently. If not, I cannot sleep. So I'm the kind that does things really, really quickly since young lah. That's how I've been. So I don't have time to think about my mental health. To be very honest, if someone came up to me and said, I need to do all of these things, but I feel like I'm depressed, or I feel like I'm a certain way, then I said, then you follow your feelings lah, sayang. And you get what I mean? I don't have time for mental health. To be honest, I think about everybody else last. I'll think.
But you shouldn't though.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's okay because I will find the time. I will find that me time that, I'm done with everybody else, with all my tasks.
No, it's your
Now it's my turn. And
as long as you find the space to find yourself.
yeah.
Because as the founder of Curriculum Mama, you need to know to always put yourself first, because you're amazing. You are the founder of Boss Mama. You also have a community with Boss Mama. It's called the Boss Mama Hotline. And then you have the Rara Brothers for the community for kids who's autistic. And growing, and now you even have other brands, and you're taking care of Raul.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a challenge of its own. Every day it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. Tell me about it.
So how do you actually stay in your best headspace?
Headspace.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because otherwise it's just like, sorry?
Sleep. Get good sleep. Yeah.
Dude, you're asking the impossible lah.
You actually sleep?
Jangan tipu. Don't lie, June.
Yeah.
Do you sleep?
Okay, if I don't sleep well, then I will have problems getting through the day. That's what I realized. So what I do now is I put my phone aside around let's say 9:30, 10 lah. I start to put my phone aside, and I try.
Oh, no wonder you don't reply me after that.
I try my best. Okay, that is what keeps me sane.
But that's your me time lah. I would say kan, sleep early and everything like that.
But you see, my kids dah besar. When I was younger, my kids kecil, it was much harder.
Yeah,
I just had to juggle no mental health thing for me because I just had to keep going. I feel I burnt out, and that's when my mom came in and said, "I'm taking the kids. You need to sleep."
Yeah. Yeah, I think. And I think maybe once in a while, it's great to have someone who is in your support circle to give you that day, that nudge, that day, that to go and say like, yo man, are you okay? I can take the kids now. Just take 2 hours to sleep or do bugger all because you need to just like relax a little bit. And it's so hard for us to switch off. But I think, did you have any... Did you, like, I mean, like, in a general basis, when you have kids, I'd imagine that, you know, a mom and the partner would definitely talk about trying to find the best way to communicate with each other. Do you and your husband have like a secret pillow talk, secret code when like shit is about to hit the fan? Like, I mean, because for me, I'm like, safe word. I just say that's it.
Yeah, my safe word is just when I started screaming, my husband's like, okay, I take over.
I was like, I got it. Yeah. Do you have that with your partner?
No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, we should start normalizing this. You're so calm.
Yeah.
No.
That's why I said I've come to a point where you throw anything at me lah,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let.
So zen lah. I feel like we haven't figured out anything out yet.
We had an interview recently. That person has found Nirvana. Junita has also found Nirvana. And because she has all like give her kalam kabut to the
That's why we invited them as our guests.
Yeah, lah.
We are like messed up right now.
No, darlings. Everybody manages their stress level differently.
thoughts, my God. Even when texting you, right? You're like so like prior to meeting you, Sophia and like the whole lot, like they were all like, you gotta meet Chun because she's like the most neutral, most like calm person ever. And like what's hilarious because we're essentially like we're ranting about other people's problems, but at the same time you were like, yes, but the circumstances are like this.
But
and
yes,
this,
that's
this, and I'm all like, oh wow,
When I had a problem, just like yesterday, I was like ranting, and then she just, yes, but but you need that in a community, in a friendship. You need that because then it balances you out.
yeah.
Very honest, I got that from my dad. He's a lawyer. I'm a lawyer by profession, so it is in our nature to see two sides of the story and to stay calm when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
It's like automated.
You can swear it.
Shit just hit the fan. Let's run away for a moment to make it like come back. Like, all right, guys, I've got something figured out.
Yeah, but that's a great way of looking at being a mom as well, especially especially when you have more challenging circumstances at the end of the day, because you need to take a step back to just have a moment to think. But it is also really important to be able to say to your partner or your support system, like, hey, I might be stubborn to ask for help. Can you just keep a lookout from time to time?
Exactly.
You know, and that's the beauty of like support groups like mom. Maybe you guys should start having safe words. Like, anyone got a safe word, and it's like direct private message, PM to P.
PM to P. With my husband a bit different because he's how to say a different generation lah, that fella.
Really? How many gap?
The gap is 9 years. He's 9 years older than me. Yeah, so
So he's early millennial or like late Gen X?
early millennial, early millennial code. Yeah, so he's the kind where don't give me drama. Like he is,
But he is calm though. Adam is very calm.
he's very calm, and I tell you, his heart is like a stone, man. It's like
You gotta get shit done. That's it.
No time for this nonsense.
For this, don't give me drama. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What's next? You stop crying, okay? I don't have the time to handle you like this. Let's find a solution. Kalau tak, you nangis-nangis.
I like that if a partner, when we can't put our shit together and our partner is like, okay, let's find a solution instead of looking at the problem.
Yeah,
That's
he's that person, which is so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah,
but sometimes I just need to rant. Just bloody hold me, can and
See, you can't expect too much expectation of our partners also is not a good
Exactly.
thing. So you can probably expect your your partner to be a little bit more pragmatic and like, neutral about certain things. But when it comes to the bitching session, that's where good friends come in play. And that is the most important thing.
And that's why you have Sassy Sally. So if you want, go and catch her and DM her.
Yes, definitely. But like, okay, so aren't you just glad we got her in? I rolled her into this. But okay lah, I mean, continuing on a little bit more, like if there were any routines or strategies that really help you keep a lot of things balanced, like what would you recommend? Because the thing is, we're trying to reach out to moms who might be going through the same circumstances, but also want to get their lives started, to come up with their own thing. What if they wanted to come up with their own community, etc., or come up with their own business, or get back to working life or whatnot? Because it is a lot of commitment at the end of the day. What kind of strategies would you recommend?
I think first thing is first, build that support system. Talk to people. Say, I have an autistic child. I need help because I want to work. That's exactly what I did to my mom. My mom knows I'm a workaholic. How am I going to manage this? I need help. Get a helper. Okay. I need my mom. Okay, talk to my mom. I need help with sending and picking up the kids, for example, right? Husband and I manage. Actually, very important is your partner. If you have a partner that's not really there, I can understand how challenging it is. I think in that way, I've been so blessed because with Adam, when I see Raul's having a meltdown, I cannot handle him. He has hurt me. Adam drops everything and comes. He comes straight away because Adam is a very different character. He doesn't show that he's hurt, that I'm hurt, but I can see from his actions that he knows that struggle I'm going through. So he tries to manage everything really quickly. He's more organized than I am. Yeah. So,
I know.
he's organized for that.
So, because just backwards when we did for the Palestinian donation thing, and Adam was like very like, do not disturb the boxes. So my husband's like, okay, which one can we touch?
Exactly. That's my husband for you. He's very organized, and he really can compartmentalize things. He's a very practical person, considering he's not even a lawyer or anything within that kind of profession. Yeah, he's a farmer, petani, okay?
Patut lah dia zen. He basically lives with plants. How could you not be very zen about life? Anyway?
So guys, if you need a zen husband, find a farmer.
Yeah. I love that. I want to be a farmer also.
Because of him, I'm also zen.
No, you are zen. How do you carve out time for yourself in your like very busy schedule?
What do I do? Basically, what I do is in the mornings, I have slower mornings. I used to have very busy mornings, and that got me so stressed. I was on anxiety all the time, and I didn't like myself. I was becoming very tak best lah. I didn't like myself at all. Had slower mornings, and I would wind down at night earlier so that I have a good amount of sleep, so that when I wake up in the morning, I'm ready for all the challenges that come throughout the day, for work, for kids, picking up, dropping off lah. And honestly, I let things come as they are.
Yeah.
Let whatever that wants to come my way, I'll figure it out. Like, for example, today I don't have a car because my husband took my car and it was just complicated that way. So now I have to figure out how to pick up Raul later. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And still, she sounds so zen.
I know. I mean, that's what you get for marrying a farmer, lah, basically. So I'm wondering, the tone of the voice in everyone's house is probably like this level, this volume, whereas my house is like,
It's true though, because how June speaks to even Ryan. Ryan, let's go home. I don't want. Let's go. I don't want. Ryan, I'll get you ice cream. She was so calm. It was me, right? The second time I said to Ryan, let's go home.
your ass and you got her. Oh, I lock you out of the house then, But babes, like, you know what? I mean, it's really unfortunate that time has moved really, really fast. We're like almost at the end of the show, but thank you so much for joining us
And for sharing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if we had to give like, a summarization of what we talked about, I feel like a great support system is always very important.
Yeah.
Getting the proper kind of diagnosis or assessment is definitely really important. And to be able to, just not give a damn anymore about what other people say or think about you, because it is something that you have to experience at the end of the day. And if any outside noise comes into play, you tell them to fuck off.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm sorry to pardon my French. I'm like, in that sense, it's very, very important.
You don't like
Exactly.
me. It's okay.
Yeah, but thank you so much, June. And I think that because mothers or parents who have child with autistic, they might not feel safe to talk with other moms who has normal children, I would say. So maybe they can follow Rara Brothers and DM you personally, maybe to because I don't like when people feel alone,
Yeah.
I want them to feel like we are all the same. It's just that we walk in a different path in that sense.
Yes.
So, I mean, June has a committee called Rara Brothers, and she also has a Boss Mama hotline, or you can always personally DM her. So we want everybody to know about this, about autism and how to deal with it, and that you're not alone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely thank you again so much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be able to have you back again for another 2-3 hours so that we can talk more about, your amazing journey of motherhood and how you just...
so much more I want to share.
Yeah. Oh my God. Blue Hobby's like you.
It's like 8 years.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's not
Season 2. We'll do it for sure. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And make sure you catch us for the next episode of Mama's Here. It's going to be really, really exciting to continuously have all the moms come together and share their stories, because Mama's here for you. Bye, guys. Bye.
Today's episode of Mama's Here podcast is produced by Kelvin Tay, Ragini Ravi, and Brian Henry, and edited by Brian Henry, Aswan, and Kelvin Tay.
For more of us, find us on all social media platforms at Mama's Here Podcast. We've been your hosts, Diana Hashim and Sophia Mastad.
Bye!
Bye!
Yay!
Yay! Thanks, June.
Satu jauh, cepat kita.